everybody, today we are doing simplifying radicals with exponents number 2, part 2. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to highlight the things that look the same, so the 2's on the outside, the 15r and the 8r to the third are on the inside. So that tells me that I'm going to have 2 times nothing, so that's just 2, and then 15 times 8 is 120. R times r to the third is r to the fourth. You just add your exponents there. Okay, now I'm going to simplify. So I have 120. I can go to 2 and 60, 2 and 30, 3 and 10, 2 and 5. I could have split that up differently. I could have done 2 and 15 and then 3 and 5, but I just thought I know that it's 3 and 10 faster. Okay, so I'm going to circle my pair and put boxes around everything else. So that's the number, and then R, I'm going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4 R's. I'm going to circle my pairs, so I have 1 pair, 2 pair. I'm going to go and just highlight, make sure I know what's going on here. So we have this pair, this pair, this pair, and then square, square, square. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at this a little closer and say I have the 2 from up above, so that comes down. I have the 2 that's in the circle. I have R. How many R's do I have? I have 2 circles of them, so R squared. Radical 3 times 2 times 5. So let's go ahead and simplify this out. 2 times 2 is 4. R squared. Radical 3 times 2 is 6 times 5 is 30. This is my final answer. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple minutes. Go ahead and try the next one. We're just multiplying twice now. Okay, so I have this 2 and this 5. Those can go together. I have this 3 and this 6n. So let's go ahead and multiply this out. The negative 2 just comes along for the first part. Radical 3 times 6 is 18n plus negative 2 times 5, that's negative 10. And then radical 3. Now I'm going to simplify the 18. So I have 18, I have 2 and 9, I have 3 and 3. So I have a pair of 3's, and I have a leftover 2. I only have 1 n, so that's not really going to help me at all. So one more time, I'm going to just highlight some stuff just to make sure we're still clear on what's happening here. I have that 2. Okay, so I have a negative 2 times that 3 and a radical 2 plus, I couldn't do anything with the 10, so I have negative 10 radical 3, or I could have just said minus 10. It's the same thing. Plus a negative is the same thing as saying minus. So let's just go ahead and simplify this. Negative 2 times 3, that's negative 6 radical 2, oops, I forgot the n, and minus 10 radical 3, or you could say plus negative 10 radical 3. This is what I am looking for. Okay, now let's go to the next one. I'm going to give you a minute. Go ahead and try that one out. Okay, so highlighting. I have that negative 3, nothing with the 10, nothing with the 2. Oh, wait, there's a negative sign here, so I should highlight that. I have that 5, the 10, and the 2. So that tells me that I have, let's go ahead and multiply all this together. So I have negative 3 radical 5 times 10 is 50. Now negative 3 times negative 1, that is positive 3. 5 times 2 radical 10. So So minus 3 radical 10. Okay, now the 50. Let's go ahead and simplify that. So we have 50, 2 and 25, 5 and 5. So I have a pair of 5s and a 2 on its own. So I'm going to just go ahead and color those in so I know what's going on. Okay, so this negative 3 comes down here. Oops. And I'm going to multiply it by 5. Radical. And I'm going to say that's 2. I don't have anything to do with the 10, because if I had 10, it would just be 2 and 5. So it's stuck. So I'm going to do plus 3 radical 10. Let's go ahead and just simplify. Negative 3 times 5 is negative 15 radical 2 plus 3 radical 10. Perfect. Okay. Go ahead and try the next one. Okay, so we have the 2 and the 5. We have the 5x and the 2. We're going to multiply these things together, right? So looking at the first part, this 2, there's nothing to multiply to, so it's going to be 2. Radical 5 times 2 is 10, and then the x just comes along. For the second one, the 2 and the 10, or 2 and 5 go together, so that gives me 10. And then the 5, or radical 5x stays the same. Okay, let's go ahead and make sure that we can't simplify anymore. So 10 goes to 2 and 5, can't do anything there. 5 goes to 1 and 5. So this is my final answer. Okay, let's go ahead and try these last two. Okay, so these are both going to be blue, so blue and blue. This last one is going to be red because it doesn't have a radical sign. So let's go ahead and multiply these together. Radical 5 times 10 is 50. A times a is a squared. For the next one, we have plus 5a because the red's on the outside. Radical 5a. So we're going to double check the 50. So we have 50, 2 and 25, 5 and 5. So I've got a pair of 5s and that 2. So that means I'm going to highlight, oops, wrong color, green. And this one is blue or yellow. Okay, so I also have 2 A's. I'm going to circle both of those. Go ahead and highlight those as being green because they're in a circle. So that shows me that I have 5, and then the A's, because those are both in my circle. Radical 2 plus, I can't do anything with the 5. So that means that this just stays 5A, radical 5A. I'm going to put a box around that because I can't do anything else. Okay guys, very last problem. Go ahead and try that one out. Okay, so we have 6 and we have that 3. We have the negative 4 and we have the positive 2n. So let's go ahead and multiply these together. Okay, so I have negative 4 radical 6 times 3 is 18n plus 2n radical 6n. Okay, so now I'm going to double check that 18. So I have 18. That can go to 2 and 9, 3 and 3. So I'm going to circle that, put a box around that. Go ahead and highlight those things. So I'm going to highlight the 3's and the 2 because that's in a box. The 6n I can't really do anything with because it just goes to 2 and 3. So this shows me that I'm going to have this negative 4 times that 3. The n there was only one of, so I can't really do anything with that. So I have radical 2, and then the n that was from up above. Plus, And then I can't do anything to the 2n or the 6n, so 2n radical 6n. Let's go ahead and multiply this together. Negative 4 times 3, that's negative 12 radical 2n plus 2n radical 6n. Okay guys, so this is the end of day 1. Go ahead and you can go ahead and get started on day 2.